Hello, welcome back. This is Rosy Barik, Assistant Professor HR. Today we are going to discuss about formulating of human resource plan of human resource planning subject. Your block number is 2, unit 7, code is MMPS003. As we have previously discussed about what is human resource planning, it is all about selection of right kind of people at right time at right place. So we are going to discuss about how we can find the number of people in the organization, how we can utilize those people, what kind of work they are doing, and what are the different techniques used for selecting the right kind of people. So, here is the contents: introduction, human resource planning, HR grant strategy, portfolio analysis, HR forecasting approaches, predictor selections, and all about the review of this subject. With we can see so many cases. So, what kind of people of tasks do people do in the organization? That means we can find out different tasks they are doing in the organization. What type of people do it? Like we can say the skills. How is the human resource department doing? What variable and future projections will have an impact on people, jobs, and the HR teams? What are the factors affecting the people while they are working in the organization? How many people could be required in the future? That we can find out through forecasting demand or demand forecasting, you can say. How long term strategic alignment should be chosen. So, human resource planning, as we have already discussed in last blogs, that it is a systematic process of predicting the future demand for the supply for and the supply of manpower and the employment of skills for the organization's objectives. So, it is also known as the method of reviewing human resource requirements to ensure the right kind of people of skills in available to the organization. So, what are the different types of process of HRP, that is human resource process? So, we can say formulation of an HR process. The planning of human resource may fall into trap into two extremes, that is falling into the shortcomings of the short term decision making, and another one is the extreme ambition of looking from too long term decision making. So, in short term decision making, it is the evident when organizational planning occurs due to the loss of an essential parameter at some level, making people restlessly look forward for the benefiting of the replacement. In long term decision, it is crucial when people depend on HR initiatives and forecast for the life decisions. So there are the four steps of formulating the HR plan or human resource plan. First is triangulation of work-related information, prior knowledge of the workforce, and cooperation of HR department. Next, selection of right strategy for which we are going to select. Next is profiling the strength and flaws of every possible strategic decisions. Then finalizing the best possible HR strategy that has the highest future potential. So, what are the four factor criteria analysis? Here we will be discussing on HR professional compare the ideal and real scenarios before finalizing strategic choices, necessitating the development of conceptual model of for creating subjective solutions, aligning current events with HR expectations, helps identifying the future possibilities and set achievable targets. So here we can see in the chart that it is shown from present to future, and the whole box is divided into four criteria: cell A, cell B, cell C, and cell D, which is divided into two parts. One is condition and another one is norms or criteria. Cell A says what is like workforce. All are saying the same kind of thing. HR department, which affected by both internal as well as external factors. Cell B similarly says what should be the workforce and HR department. So it is desired and strategic outcomes. Cell C say what will probably be the workforce and HR department. Similar. Cell D says what should be in the future work and workforce HR department. Is there any discrepancies in cell C? That means probably we are using. So if no, then action is not required. If there is any discrepancies in probability of workforce and HR department, we can see what is the cause. Is it significant for the work or for the organization or department? We can say what actions should be taken to correct it? What results of actions are likely? How can negative effects of action can be minimized? So the details will be discussed here. The quadrant for is this approach examines here we can say workforce, what is cell A, that is workplace HR department. So from the work perspective, it analyzes the tasks currently being formed in job, like what kind of work they are going to do. The workforce perspective critically assesses the expertise of individuals based on their academic qualifications, professional experiences, and personal traits. And the HR department perspective, it based on the reviews, its strength and its weakness, avoiding any value biased judgment related to the workforce and HR functions. Similarly, quadrant what should be, that is quadrant cell B. We can see here, sorry, what should be, that is cell B. So here this quadrant involves subjectivity and judgment by comparing the real to an expected results, real result and expected result. So we may recall that the description of job, that is job description, different. It is both are different things. Description of job is different and the job description is different. Set of expectations from the workforce and HR department. The basis of value judgments are set to meet the desirable expectations so as to be able to do good in making the organization beneficial. Like we can identify what kind of job are to be done, the culture, the environment, what people are expecting from the organization, that here in cell B we can highlight it. So, quadrant what will probably be, that is cell 2, cell C. In this case, we have two choices as we have discussed earlier. If yes, what have to done to do, and if no, what have to do. So this quadrant looks to the future prospect by carefully studying the competitors, technological advancement, and the trends of human expectations. It attempts to foresee the workplace climate if the suggested changes are incorporated to the workplace. Hence, it talks about the job, its position, and the shade of closely related to job, that is, job relatives. It not only brings in new job roles and expectations, but also brings the future possibilities for the workforce upgradation and HR department enrichment. Similarly, the fourth quadrant, that what should be, it describes the future conditions by imagining a possible outcome having its strong hold in the present. The impact of this quadrant on the three work groups like workforce and HR department are described as what means what the future jobs will be saved when we find consistency among the organization's objectives and organizational strategy. Workforce, what will be the new set of academic, professional, and personal requisites from a job seeker, which will be in consonance with the changed job requirements. Then HR department, how the HR department will be perceived when the organizational objectives are streamlined and made most evaluation of the external and internal conditions. So we discussed about the four quadrants of process. So the analysis of four quadrants leads us to compare the deviation to find out the possibilities of discrepancies. What are the deviations? How we can meet those deviations? It takes into consideration the strength, weakness, opportunity, threat, that is SWOT analysis, and assesses the preparedness of an organization to the long range HR planning. The discrepancies can be positive or it can be negative. The positive discrepancies indicates the organization's future preparedness in more than the expectations, whereas as it is ideal expectations and it is requiring no corrective measures. Similarly, it also indicates the significant motivation and strength of the core HR staff. For example, a training is a program designed for one department, can be extended to the other by increasing the operational cost and manifolding its efficacies or its necessities. So, the negative discrepancies, on the other hand, is the reason of concern. It required further initiatives to find the reasons behind and arrest them. So, the reasons are, what is the cause of these discrepancies? How significant it is for the future perspective? What measures can rectify the discrepancies? What may be the impact of the corrective measures on existing? How the counterproductive aspects of the corrective measures can be reached out. These are the negative discrepancies. The strategic choice made by the organization which enables the HR cater worthy long-term oriented solution. So we discussed here about the positive discrepancies and negative discrepancies. Now here is the case study. If we have some time, then we will discuss on it. It's all about an automobile sector. So next we will discuss about HR grant strategy. HR grant strategy is a futuristic, long-term strategic alternatives devised for or proposed by the HR department. Several conceptual tools are used to finalize one grant strategy. In the next section, we will be discussing about more three analysis to formulate the HR strategies. They are weakness, opportunities, strength, or strength, that is Oates SWOT. It is written by Oates analysis. Then portfolio analysis and Boston consultancy group, that is BCG matrix for the human resources. Before that, we should go on the case study that Albanian Motor Limited, an automobile spare part company with the market presence of 6 decades, was known for its quality product supply and efficient product delivery time. So the company's forte is backed by its loyal employee base. It was noted that when one joins the organization, leaves it only upon reaching the retirement age. The low turnover ratio was the result of job satisfaction, job security extended by the management team of Albanian Motor Limited till The previous year, Albanian Motor was enjoying the hold on market segment. The scenario has reversed with the entry of competitors. The new competitors enter the market with well equipped technological edge. The suggest this is a question for all of you students that the four factor criteria of an Albanian motor limited preparing it towards the discrepancies of observed. The four factor criteria was cell A, cell B, cell C, cell D. What are those? What is? What should be? What is probably be? And what should be in? So we can through this, we can find out the perfect solution of this case study. Now we'll be discussing on odds analysis, that is weakness, opportunities, threat or strength. Odds analysis works on three key assumptions. One is identifying core competencies in the possible with the practical odds analysis, finding the best possible areas in NIC in dependent on the efficacy of the core competency. An effective strategy is an triangulation of competencies and niches, market niche. So, an examples of odds is that weakness. Reported the job satisfaction can be termed as the weakness. Opportunity, flexi timing may add to job satisfaction and hence can be visualized as an opportunities. Threat, an increase in geek mentality may pose a threat as people would like to associate based on the tenured project vis-a-vis a full-time association with the company. Then strength are high social commitment of the organization that reflects its outlook towards the employee may be seen as its strength. So, next is portfolio analysis. Portfolio analysis, it is the collection of assets or proposal may be termed as the portfolio. Collection of assets or proposals may be termed as portfolio. The major attraction of it is to mitigate or diversify the risks so as to earn maximum benefits. The portfolio analysis can be done in two ways. One is product life cycle way, another one is BCG matrix way. So product life cycle is very important, that is PLC analysis. We can see from the graph that there are four quadrants. One is introduction, growth, maturity and decline, and we can say instead of decline we can change the product which will be known as product extension. Here the x-axis will be denoted as time and y-axis will be denoted as sales. The life cycle of an HR strategy consists of four stages, that is introduction, growth, maturity and decline. During the introduction phase, the HR plan is formulated and introduced to the organization. As it gains acceptance, the plan enters a rapid growth phase followed by maturity where growth stagnates. Over the time, the changes in technology and expectations can make the plan less effective. Leading to the decline phase, it is the point, decline phase is the point where brainstorming and adjustment are needed, potentially starting the new life cycle of the HR strategy. And also what companies are doing, if they are seeing the product is going to be in decline condition, instead of working on that, they are doing what they are doing the product extension so that it can be present in the market or it can be the one of the market competitor. Boston Consultancy Group BCG matrix of HR. Workers can classified into four categories suggested by Oderin that in 1984. They are workers who show high performance despite of having low potential. Star performers, workers who show high performance and also possesses high potential. Problem employers, workers who register low performance despite having high potential. Deadwood, workers who show low performance and also low potential. The high performance, low potential quadrant indicates the enthusiasm among the employees. It, it gradually moves into the next quadrant of high performance, high potential as a result of training, organizational learning, and the experiences. The next quadrant comes into existence with the gradual dipping performance of the earlier high performers despite possessing of high potential. This group leads to next quadrant of low performance and low potential draining the organizational resources. The four stages comparable with the BCG matrix are cast outs, stars, question marks, and dogs. As workforces, the workhorses that is cash cow, stars is represented as stars, question mark represented as problem employees, and dead dogs are represented as dead woods. The BCG matrix of HR is widely popularized by Rothel in 2000 in planning the successor. So here is the BCG matrix, that is populations, high, low. We can say the your y-axis is denoted as the population, whereas the x-axis is denoted as the performance. Here, stars both have high, that corresponds to the star companies. Highly potential employees are working, and their the performance is also very high. Then low, both high and low. Population is low and performance is population is high and performance is low. That is problem employees. That corresponds to the question mark of the companies. That means the employees are maybe the surplus for the organization, or the employees are not like the potential one. Then workhorses like population is low, performance is high. They are working very hard, correspond to the cash cow companies. Then deadwood, in both the cases, population as well as performance both are low. That corresponds to the dog companies. Here is the case study with certain questions. We can see that bitter it may taste, shrills it may sound, and sleepless nights it may cause, but it is true. It is the major shake-up Airbus, the European aircraft manufacturers, has thrown a big shock to the employees before reaching to the understanding of the sub. Company's details may be studied. The company Airbus was created in the year of 1970. It is having the employee base of 57,000. The closest competitor Boeing has raised the concern for the Airbus. On 27th February 2007, Airbus announced near future plans for shedding 10,000 jobs as it will be dissolving six of its units. So, this will impact for four European countries. Soon staged protest by the helpless workers drawn the offices. Airbus management chose to enter into the meeting the union before the employees actually faced the same formalized jobs loss. However, the attempt went futile. The talks could not pacify the agitation of the worker or of the to be affected workers. So, based on the case studies, we have four questions. Can you suggest some alternative strategy to concern? Is the job setting the only option of addresses to the competitions? Can you suggest worst analysis of the situations? That means we have to find out what is the strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat of the organization. What is the learning from the organizational culture? Wait a minute. Four forecasting approaches, as we have already studied about the four forecasting approaches. HR forecasting involves predicting a company's future workload and its impact on staffing needs. It helps the HR departments to anticipate both short term as well as the long term staffing requirements based on the factors like expected sales, office expectations or expansions, and employee attrition. By analyzing these variables, HR can plan for the right number and type of employees needed. Additionally, HR planning takes into account the cost and administrative tasks involved in hiring and reducing the staff. Effective forecasting ensures that the company maintains the optimal workforce to meet the business goals. So, what are those techniques we will be discussing on that? That is Delphi technique, trend analysis, ratio analysis, supply forecasting. Then we will be discuss on HR forecasting techniques. First one is Delphi method. It is structured processes that gathers expert opinions to analyze a problem using an intermediary to facilitate the exchange of ideas to avoid personal biases and ineffective debates, making it suitable for resolving differing perspectives, especially in large HR department. The organization selects HR managers who are best equipped to forecast internal and external factors affecting the team. Experts districtly submit their individual suggestions to the intermediary who then consolidates the presents them anonymously. Participants review others' insights and refine their proposals based on the new information provided. The facilitators identifies the major disagreements and the group work collaboratively to resolve them until a consensus is reached for the implementation. And in case of trend analysis is used in historical data to forecast the future workforce needs based on the past pattern. So it basically focuses on the past pattern or past system. It compares staffing levels at different times against key business matrices. For instance, a call leadership might analyze the number of sales representatives that corresponded with peak car sales for the employees. Although, although trend lines are not always precise, they help organizations optimize labor cost while maintaining service quality and sales performance. This approach ensures the company can effectively balance staffing and operational efficiency. Now comes to ratio analysis. Ratio analysis it is slightly similar to the same trend analysis. It connects key businesses matrices to the staffing requirement. Matrix to the staffing requirements. It focuses on identifying the ideal staff to output ratio needed for efficient operation and adjust this ratio for future planning. For instance, a retreat might examine the number of servers employed in the previous years as compared to the number of guests reserved. If the optimal ratio was found to be one server for every 16 guests, the HR team would hire enough servers to maintain this ratio for upcoming busy season. This method ensured the consistent services levels while meeting the demand effectively. For example, we can say, as we have seen that in various examination, entrance examination, or we can say in various interview process, if there is one vacancies is there, then the applicant is more. And if you consider the written test, the basic amount of people will be disqualified and a certain amount of people will be qualified for the interview run. Like they have certain ratio 1 is to 7 or 1 is to 4. Based on that, they have to identify the best suitable candidate for the position. Then now comes to the supply forecasting. Under this, we will be discussing on HR forecasting optimization techniques, predictor selections. It is certain one formula is there. Then matrices of HR processes. So first of all, we'll be discussing on what are the HR supply forecasting. As we have already discussed about HR supply forecasting, based on that, the supply forecasting strategy analyzes a company's internal and external assets to qualify the candidates. It involves evaluating current employees to identify the potential promotions or lateral transfers for open the positions. HR reviews qualifications and performance to plan replacement for departing the staff. They also access the external labor market trends to understand how they may affect the hiring needs and the cost. For example, in the market resource, for example, in the market research, it is shown that higher profits for entry level marketers, the company might adjust by hiring few senior marketing executives than initially planned. For HR forecasting optimization techniques take the advantages of available hiring opportunities. The HR forecasting helps to make informed hiring decisions and identify the candidates with unique skills that can strengthen the team. To collaborate with other managers to gather insights on skill gaps and project future needs based on the organizational requirements. Beyond filling the vacancies, HR forecasting can rejuvenate the organization and enhance its capacity for the innovation. Consider if we'll consider the different types of employees when making hiring decisions to avoid premature commitment while forecasting HR needs, the evaluate which employment types such as part-time workers or paid interns might best suit their requirements. A company may find it can achieve the same production goals or clients' service levels with part-time staff rather than full-time salaried employees. So, what is the trends of this current scenario? We can see the employers or managers are thinking that instead of hiring the full-time employees, we can hire the part-time employees of less salary. So, a strategic hiring approach that includes deserved employment types can reduce cost related to benefits and payroll. Experimenting with various hiring arrangements can provide insights that reshape the organization's future vision and team development. So, reviewing organogram, review the delegation of responsibilities within the company before finalizing the hiring plan to ensure the efficiency. Organizational charts may need adjustment as the company grows, the reflecting changes in the workflows and reporting the relationships. HR may recommended merging roles or creating new position for the better manage workloads instead of hiring of the separate position. So it may beneficial for the organization or for the employees or survey employees. While every company approaches HR forecasting differently, even classical forecasting can boost preparedness. Conducting employee surveys can help gather vital information that improves the accuracy of HR forecast, especially in larger organizations. Proactive data collections can help anticipate departures, allowing HR to plan effectively even if an employee's official resignation is received just week before the leaving. So, if the person is leaving the organization before the survey process, that also considered as that also be considered as the official resignation is received just a week or before leaving. So this is also required for serving the employees. The number of employees are there in the organization or the number of employees are leaving from the organization. As we have already discussed in the previous unit through the trend analysis by solving some possible numericals. So now comes to the predictive analysis. Here we have these are the things we are going to study. What is predictor analysis? It is incorrect to remove the predictor based solely on the absence of it is incorrect to remove a predictor based solely on the absence of discernible relationship in a scatter plot. In predictor analysis, what I will be seeing the forms or what will be observed from the organization that can be done in a scatter plot. As such plot often fails to capture the relationship influenced by the other predictors. So if we'll see this predictor analysis, we have to calculate the adjusted R square value. So computer output will always provide the R square value for the regression analysis. Though we are going to do the regression analysis in the predictor selection. However, this is not a good indicator of models prospective abilities. It assesses how well the model fits historical data, but not how well it forecasts the future data. That means is depends upon your past data rather the future data. So it doesn't accommodate degrees of freedom and hence adding an irrelevant. So based on the adjusted R square value, sum of squared errors that is denoted as SSE is seen as a better model as compared to the R square value. SSEs can be calculated as summation of ET squared, that is T starting from 1 to T, where R bar squared. Another method that can be used to overcome the problem of adjusted R square value. R bar square, the formula is that 1 minus whole into 1 minus 1 minus r square whole into t minus 1 divided by t minus k minus 1, where t is the total number of data points, or we can say the t is the observation and k is the total number of predictors. So maximizing r bar square, minimizing the standard error, hence it giving a better predictor. So main thing is that we have to do one thing to maximize the r bar square value and minimize the standard error. That is the overall summary of this survey report, or we can say predictor analysis. So now we'll be discussing on new part, that is human resource measurements and audit. To guarantee that planning of human resource processes is sufficient and pertinent to the organization, a framework of timely review in the manner of an independent reviews, and the monitoring of business economics in the form of measures of appropriate assessment appropriate assessment of critical process and systems is considered necessary. So it's all about your previous data, or we have to monitor the data, what will be is going to do, what has already done, that will be discussed here. It's crucial to establish the scope and position of the human resource functioning before characterizing the audit measures system. So the core managerial philosophy set of the human resources functions aspirations. So those are, this is all about your human resource measurement and audit. First of all, audit means what? Means we have to find out whether the work is being done effectively or not, whether the people of the organization are working for the organization or they are doing something else. That's why it says that to guarantee that planning of human resource processes is sufficient and pertinent to the organization, a framework of timely review of the manner of an independent review and monitoring the business economics in the form of measures of appropriate assessment of the critical process system is considered easily. But in order to consider your sister, don't you think that it may hamper your future of your sister, or it may create some problem for you in the for you at home? But the core managerial philosophy set up the human resource functions aspirations. So the metrics is to assess the performance. As we have already discussed, there are various matrices are there to assess the performance, that is recruitment and selection. The thing is that cost of recruitment is recruitment is involved, time to hire, number of time is required to hire, highest from the internal reference or new hirees performance. First of all, the recruitment cost should be calculated, at what time the recruitment will be done, highest from the internal reference, like if the employee is working in the organization and there is a vacancy, the internal employee can give the reference of any other person and recruitment can be done, or the new hire's performance, or the recruitment advertisement can be provided to any other media or sources so that new hiring can be done. Then career planning and succession strategy, the percentage of qualified people, what is the percent of internal placement as compared to the external hires, and relocation cost. The percentage of qualified people means those who are eligible for the organization, and they can be promoted for the next level. And what is the performance of the internal replacement as compared to the external hires? That means number of people are hiring based on the internal process, or we can say from the references as compared to the hiring process from the outsider. And relocation cost, that the person is visiting the particular area or place number of time. Training and development, the number of days of training required for the employees based on the employee skills, abilities, and knowledge. The total training cost incurred for the employee, number of cost, or we can say the cost, not only the in case of monetary basis, in case of non-monetary basis means the number of hours the person is spending for the training purpose. Then the effectiveness of the training is in terms of relevance, timeless, and applicability. So we can find out the training effectiveness, whether the training process is relevant to the person, and it is not time consuming, and it is applicable in the organization. So these are the following points which are critical for the periodic reviews and audit. Orientation of HR department objectives with organizational objectives, critical enterprises issues, and key success factors, that is KSF. The presence of well documented core aspect that confront the requirements of the firm, particularly critical issues such as practices should have performance metrics and action plans. So we can see the audit is being done in the organization, but that should be properly documented, so that what is the issues of the organization that can be identified, what are the critical issues for the organization that can be identified properly. Points of auditors need to take into consideration, whatever the points written by the auditors, that should be considerable. Orientation of interdepartmental vision and missions with the strategic value positions, the objective and value of the organization. So, during the orientation program, organizational or departmental mission vision should be communicated. What are the valuable positions of the strategic value positions of the organization, and the objective and the value of the what the organization is saying. So, it next is to describe the critical success factors for meeting the departmental targets, and how will they remediate it. That means what are the factors that is required for meeting the departmental targets, and how it can be remedied. Are the key strategic elements such as mission, vision, and value propositions geared towards meeting the need of the customers? Or have the critical processes of the department been identified? In there a link between the processes, the owners, and the procedure performance matrices? How is the department programs performed? Is the hierarchy designed with the institution's important process and the departmental goals in the mind? Whenever the department is designed, the institution is planned to design any kind of department, that should be organogram formed. And what is the hierarchy of reaching to the organization, like designed with the institution's important process and departmental goals, what will be the goal of the department, that should keep in the mind. So these are the points which are very critical for the periodic review and the audits. So, and also we can say first strategies and practices are in place to assess the customer requirements. What steps are taken to solicit, provide, incorporate feedback, and corrective measures should be done. How often the future developments determined, what measures are being adopted to address the new needs, the current tactics are available to gather the market data, competitive data, environmental based practices, and so on. How are the remedial actions should be undertaken based on such current data? How does the branch make short or long term plans? How frequently is the process or the progress accessed? What are the strategies for the modification and the contingencies? Is the department's cross organizational communication efficacious, or do the customers of the department feel engaged in its development and planning? Is the entity management committed to the activities of the department of? So these are the things which should be considered, or reviews, periodical reviews are required while we are performing or opening the new department, or we are planning for conducting the new parts in the organization. So today's class we have discussed about the human resource planning with the help of two cases. So see, we have discussed about what is the human resource plan, formulation of an HR processes with how by two extremes, like shortcoming of short-term decision making, falling into the shortcoming of short-term decision making, and extreme ambitions of looking from to the long-term decision making. Both are very crucial part of the organizations, and the four steps involved in the HR formulations, the four factor criteria analysis, that is, what should be, what should be, will be probably, and what should be in. So, and also we have studied about the SWOT analysis, which will be known as OATS analysis: weakness, opportunity, threat, and strength. So in this through these two case studies, then we have discussed about HR grand strategy, how strategies has been made, how different formula, how to formulate the grand strategy through portfolio analysis and votes analysis, Boston Consultancy Group, that is BCG metrics, as well as product life cycle. In words analysis, we saw the different key assumptions with an examples. In portfolio analysis, we have calculated the product life cycles way, the BCG matrix, and in the product life cycle analysis, we have calculated about the different stages of the products, that is introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. But nowadays, instead of declining the product, they are doing the product extensions, so that HR HR work can be filled. So it is similar to the marketing part, how marketing part, what is happening in the growth of the organization. If the company is seeing the organization is going to decline condition, they are trying to develop their organization, redesign their organization, or restructure their organization to meet the organizational goal as well as individual goals, and also to meet the market. And through the BCG matrix, we have compared the cash cow with workhorses, stars with stars, question marks with the problem employees, and dogs as the deadwood with certain case study. One case study was there. Then we have discussed about different HR forecasting approaches, that is Delphi techniques, trend analysis, ratio analysis. Then we have discussed about the supply forecasting. In supply forecasting, we have discussed about HR forecasting optimization techniques, and through this we can find out reviewing the organogram as well as the survey employees. Then we have done predictor analysis or predictor selection. In this predictor selection, we have studied how to calculate the adjusted R square instead of R square. We also can calculate the sum of squared errors or R bar square, which can be beneficial instead of R square, adjusted R square. That means the problems which has been identified through the adjusted R square, that can be solved with R bar square with the formula. Then human resource measurements and its audits. Through this, we had studied about the different audit methods, how to documented all these things, and matrices to the performance. Those matrices are recruitment selection, career planning and succession strategy, training and development. Then critical points for the periodic reviews and audit, that what points should be verified, what how the review process can be going on, that we have identified. So the summary, in total class we have discussed about the HR plans that involves forecasting, anticipating the future events, and developing contingency strategies to address the uncertainties in the labor market. The extent of forecasting required for staffing that depends on internal and external factors with varying levels of sophistications in forecasting techniques used to predict staffing outcomes. Despite the availability of advanced statistical tools for employee planning and monitoring, only a few organizations fully utilize these techniques. Then we had discussed about the staffing planning focuses on quantitative aspects like predictions, supply demand alignment, and control, while strategic HR planning emphasizes skill development, quality, culture change, and long term goals. The labor market encompasses the various involving factors that influence the labor demand and supplies, which shaped by the market conditions, that is workforce demographics and country specific labor force participation norms. Traditionally, staffing planning aimed to balance an organization's human capital needs with the labor supply available in regional, national job markets, often involving specialized unit within the personnel department. Many organizations are replacing the traditional staffing with workforce planning as a part of their HRM efforts to ensure sufficient human resources for achieving future organizational goals. All the organizations engage in some form of human resource and employment planning, whether formally or informally, to foster employee satisfaction, we can say growth, or effective equal opportunities, or what are the different practices that organization can be followed. Then formal HR planning that aims to align the human resources with organizational objectives while ensuring employee development and equity in employment opportunities. And also, according to HRM theories, the HR department should act as the integral part of the business strategy making process, adapting to changes in internal as well as the external workplace organization. These are the things we have covered in this unit. Thank you.